Enormous amount of focus this week on the Supreme Court. To be honest, I don't have an enormous amount of faith in the Supreme Court when it comes to the question of deciding personhood. And that's really what's at the heart of the challenge American democracy faces. But the Citizens United decision said a corporation is a person. You know, in 1857, the Supreme Court ruled that Dred Scott, an African American, was not a person. In 2010, the Supreme Court ruled that a corporation is. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it makes sense to many Americans. Citizens United, in our view, was one of the worst, most misguided decisions the court has ever made. And we have to look no further than the current presidential primary to see what the toxic effects of that are. The only way to undo the damage is to pass a constitutional amendment that Congressman Deutsch is the lead sponsor on, and I'm joining him in pushing for that amendment. But we all know that's going to take time. And the question now is, are there actions we can take immediately that would mitigate the effects of Citizens United and the toxic impact that it is having on American politics? And that's why we're here today. We are proposing two actions and are joined by colleagues in this effort. First, we are writing to the IRS and asking them to enforce the law as it applies to 501c4 organizations. There's no doubt that the vast majority of 501c4 groups do excellent social welfare work, and they're worthy of the tax-exempt status that they have. But some of the 501c4s, you have to ask the question, whose social welfare are they looking out for? Just a few examples. Carl Rowe's 501c4, Crossroads GPS, has spent upwards of $20 million in attack ads to keep President Obama from being reelected. In fact, that organization appears to have no other purpose. FreedomWorks, another 501c4, has funneled $1.5 million into the coffers of the super PAC FreedomWorks for America. That's 30% of the total amount that the super PAC has raised. And where did those donations come from? We have no idea. In every other contribution through a legitimate campaign organization, there is donor disclosure, something that's been a basic tenet of campaign finance. We are asking the IRS to investigate any organizations that appear to be overtly flouting the law, and if they are found to be in violation of the law, they should be prosecuted. Second, we are writing President Obama to urge him to make recess appointments to the Federal Election Commission. That organization needs to have new life breathed into it. It's a feckless operation. Currently, there are 5 members on a 6-member commission, all of whom are serving with expired terms. We're asking and urging the President to put people in place who will do their jobs. The FEC is the nation's elections watchdog, and gridlock on the commission has rendered it completely impotent at a time when we need a cop on the beat more than ever. A few examples of the failure of the FEC to do its job. Candidates themselves routinely attend fundraisers for super PACs, supporting them with no objection with the FEC, even though there's supposed to be separation between a campaign and a super PAC. There are dozens of examples where nonpartisan staffers on the commission have found violations, illegal money, misused funds, but because the enforcement needs to be approved by commissioners, nothing happens. They deadlock 3-3. A donor can give money to a candidate's super PAC and then appear at a candidate's fundraiser. This should be investigated by the FEC. What we have in campaign finance now with the super PACs is essentially a Wild West situation. There's no cop on the beat. The campaigns and the super PAC make up the rules as they go on, and they do it on the fly, and they do it for their own benefit, not for the benefit of American democracy. So our goal is to take the actions that are within our capacity to take, have the IRS enforce the law, have the FEC do its job. Thank you. And I'll now turn it over to Ted Deutsch, who, as I mentioned, is the author of the constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United.